most of us by now are familiar with the battle against climate change and the urgency of meeting net zero emissions targets. However, the company UEarth says there is more to the equation than just CO2. My name is Rosanna Lockwood and I'm in Davos, where I sat down with the CEO and founder of the company to find out how. Bette Maggio, CEO and founder of UEarth. It's wonderful to have you here with us in beautiful Davos, Switzerland. Looking forward to finding out more about your company and your mission with regards to clean air, which I understand is an issue very close to your heart and obviously very close to UEarth as well. So let's just start there and get an understanding of what you actually do.
Yeah, thank you for having me in Davos. It's a beautiful place. There's beautiful air, and we really enjoy this very, very rare places where the air is still good. But it's all about your next breath, you know. While you're breathing, think about that you eat 1 kilo of food a day, you drink a little of water a day, but then you breathe 25 kilos of air. Now, if that air is not clean, you obviously have a problem. And how do you know? You can eat or drink things with a label where you can read and choose what you eat and drink, but you can't with what you breathe. So this was our main concern. And so we created this, they call us the Pure Air Company, where we create technologies, suite of products that are really cutting edge to fix pollution, to destroy it in a very natural way, and to also monitor it and to release a standard. So let's say it's an ecosystem of products that release a qualification, a label called Pure Air Zone. So the idea is to for people to find places where there's a logo on the door and know that the air inside that place is clean.
Thank you for that very clear explanation about what you're doing. Perhaps we'll go into a bit more detail about your use of data later on, but first I want to get a sense about public understanding of clean air. It feels like, especially with the pandemic, there's been a shift in the way that the public is thinking about these kinds of things.
Absolutely, we've seen it. Now, 99% of the global population is breathing unsafe air. So we have a problem. And we have to fix it right where it's beginning. So the air we're breathing in every space. So probably the pandemic definitely showed us how the world can stop because of air pollution and what is traveling in the air. So it's not only a social problem, it's not only a health problem, but it's a business problem as well. You think about it, the businesses that remained open during the pandemic maybe tripled their revenue, whether the others that had to close maybe went bankrupt. So we don't have to let this happen again, ever. And we have a problem beyond the pandemic to fix. So that is massive. So this is something, if you think about the GDP, air pollution is costing 3.3% of the global GDP. That's like $9,000 a second, okay? So it's not that we can just forget about it. We have to fix it. It's an economic problem, it's a health problem, it's a social problem. And people understand it very well right now.
It's good to understand that there is this sort of shift in public understanding about the issue. But let's turn back to UEarth and what your company is doing. Talk to us a little bit about the role that you're playing in this. What makes UEarth so special?
Well, we grow by lifting others. Basically, we empower companies to secure the air that they're breathing, to secure their business continuity, first of all, to keep safe their most important asset, which is their customers and their employees, and be rated for that with an index, and be known for that, showing that they actually have this labeling of clean air. So this is, and we do it in a very different way. We use bacteria, which is very unique. We understood when you saw what happened with the pandemic, when we all stayed home, and nature started cleaning itself. Now, this is because of bacteria. Nature has a huge power to recover itself from whatever happens. if we all stopped, probably nature would do its job, but we can't. So what we understood is that we can concentrate those bacteria in special machines that we call bioreactor with a water flow inside, which attract pollution and digest it. So it's not by moving pollution from one side to the other, but it's actually digesting it into harmless compounds that can be disposed in nature. So what's more powerful than that?
Well, I've heard of good bacteria, but I haven't heard of it being used for these purposes. Fascinating stuff. I want to go back and talk a little bit more about data, because you mentioned that early on in our conversation that you kind of analyze air quality and you process that data and you make that data available. Talk to us a little bit more about that, the role that data plays in your tech.
Yeah, that's a big difference, because when we started this adventure with bacteria, we actually had very complicated machine to understand and monitor what was happening, but then the customer didn't really know if it was working or not. So we added monitoring systems. So we had UV lamps that are safe on the skin. So we added all a suite of products that send data to the cloud. These products, this suite of equipment works 24/7 because pollution doesn't sleep. And so the data goes up in the cloud and needs to be understood with, what happens outdoor, how many people go into the place. I mean, air pollution is very complicated issue that needs to be analyzed at 360 degrees. So in order to release this pure air zone label, we need to know that actually everything is working fine. To release this green light on this visor that customers can see. And we have this, when the light is green, the air is clean approach, which is really, really easy for everybody to follow.
You said that air pollution, it's a really complex issue. It's a global one as well. Can one company really make that much of a difference?
Air pollution is a dirty job, and someone has to do it. Basically, it takes a lot of courage, but courage is a choice. So if you think about it, the companies that are the most valued now weren't there 20 years ago. And the companies that will be more valued in 10 years are born now. And it's going to be all about people, planet, and profit. So it's mostly important that we can fix all the problems that humanity caused. And a lot of people ask us, why are you doing this? What keeps you moving? And it's like seeing a demon that is following you. And this demon is actually chasing humanity. This is air pollution, which is destroying our people, our human race. And so once you see it, you want to track it down. And we have now the technical skills, we have the technologies, and we have the partners to make really a difference. So we're not going to stop. We won't stop. So if you had a demon chasing you, would you stop?
I don't think I would, Beta. I think I would try and outrun that demon as much as possible. And you've talked about what UEarth is doing, what is possible on an organizational, on a company level. But as you said there, clean air, it affects humans, it affects people, every individual on the planet. So what is the role that people can play in this air quality challenge?
Well, the key role of people is massive. Every little action that we've done took us to this point, and every little action we're going to do to fix it is going to make the world a better place. So people are understanding it, and people want to participate to this. And think about Wi-Fi. At the beginning, nobody knew what was Wi-Fi, and then when they understood that they could have connectivity, they wanted it everywhere. Now it's everywhere, it's free. Now, with air quality, it's the same. We want people to understand how different it is to be able to breathe clean air as opposed to just, not knowing what you're breathing, and ask for it. Therefore, we created an app which is also very engaging for people, where they can see what the air quality outside it is, so that they can, make 2 + 2 makes 4, and choose and see where on the map they can find clean air, but also instructing teaching them about air pollution so they can read, they can learn, they can invite other friends, they can join a community where they can act, and so their little actions will make a huge difference for us. So the support of our community is definitely key.
It's really great to understand how organisations can make a difference, but also people as well. Like you said there is an imperative for everyone to breathe clean air. Let's talk about the setting we're in, because it's a real clean air setting by virtue of nature, Davos in Switzerland, which of course, very beautiful, the setting for the World Economic Forum every year. And I want to ask you a little bit about that, because this year, the world leaders and the politicians, they're meeting under the theme cooperation in a fragmented world to avoid another decade of inaction and instability. And I want to ask you, with your wealth of experience, looking at these multilateral bodies like the UN with their sustainable development goals for climate emissions, the World Economic Forum, the discussions they have about the environment as well, do you feel confident and reassured that there can be global cooperation to achieve clean air?
Absolutely. We're here for this reason. We are actually members of the New Champions community of the World Economic Forum, and they're helping us greatly to bring out the message and to develop the standard. Because you can't act on your own with new technology, you have to be recognized in some way. And what we're trying to do is actually to bring the standard with the beyond CO2, and the world needs to keep turning, and we need to face this problem right now. So, and we're doing with amazing partners. We are so lucky to have institutions like the Forum, but also like UNICEF, where we're working on the children, which are the future of this planet, and also with our partners that are amazing, like manufacturers like Jabil, which is building our technology, our equipment all over the world, and Microsoft that is leveraging our data, and with GSIC, we're bringing this to the sports, innovation in sports, which they get air pollution and air quality really, really greatly, because they know how important air is for sports. So yes, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen very soon. And the whole point is that we have to focus on solutions more than problems. We can fix the problems, and we have to do it now. And it takes everybody's little effort to do so. And I think that knowing about solutions is the only way that you can start a path and never look back. A path towards a better future on planet Earth.
It's a reassuring message to end on, and I'm going to take away from this conversation that pure air, clean air, gives you a competitive edge as well, which is completely understandable. Berta Maggio, CEO and founder of UEarth, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.